Thank you. As you know, we're going to resume our senior speaker series today, and Tony is the first to speak today. Welcome, everyone.
My name is Tony Gung. This is my third year here at Suffield Academy, and here is my speech. Please look at the pictures. Look at these dogs. Aren't they so cute? Do you know how many ways I could cook these dogs? I can eat it in a well-seasoned hot pot, salt it, hard boil, put it inside spring rolls, of course, teriyaki, dog jerky, cup noodles, grilled, you name it. The compelling fragrance and the tenderness of the meat is just simply irresistible. This is what a lot of Westerners assume what goes on my mind when dogs are near me. I often find this irritating and at times upsetting. We Asians should not be condemned for eating dogs just because of someone's lack of knowledge in Asian cultures. So before you say, you Asians eat dog, think first. Because Asia is a large continent. Indians or Pakistanis are rarely accused of eating dogs. Yes, the practice of consumption of dogs is part of many Asian cultures. But I'm not here today to deny the fact that particular Asians eat dogs, nor to promote eat dogs, maybe. I am here to debunk the stereotype of all Asians eat dogs. In order to solve the problem, we need to identify it first. We're going to look at the Yunlin Festival in China. An estimate of 10,000 dogs are expected to be killed and eaten at the festival. Most of the dogs are stolen by nearby towns, knocked unconscious, and the brutal process begins. In South Korea, the practice of eating dogs is not supported, but although it is not completely unacceptable. Over 100,000 tons of dog meat, or 2.5 million dogs, are consumed annually in South Korea. Every year, hundreds of thousands of pets are snatched from Thailand, then smuggled into Vietnam to be served in high-class diners or street stalls. On many occasions, though, the smugglers are stopped and arrested at the Thai-Vietnam border, but many of the dogs have already died of poor treatment. Now we have identified the problem, it is time to find the reason or cause behind it. If you look at these countries, they don't have the luxury of possessing a McDonald's every 200 yards. In fact, they suffer from severe poverty and shortage on food. According to the World Bank, between the 1960s to the 1980s, more than 500 million people in China suffered from poverty. They lived on less than $1.25 a day. This is the era of China's Cultural Revolution. If you don't know about this, it was essentially a failed government movement that starved around 30 million Chinese citizens to death. The starving citizens were eating tree barks and tree roots, plant roots, to live. And you really think anything will stop them from eating a dog before the dog starves to death itself? Come on, let's be realistic here. It was solely out of desperation to survive, not immoral. The practice probably carried on in China after the Cultural Revolution. Other than being a necessity, the concept of eating dogs is simply different in parts of Asia. In the Western world, dogs are taught as a man's best friend, the most important companion, or something that is valued highly. In many of these third world countries, education in general is hard to come by. And you really think they're going to prioritize teaching the importance of dogs? Think of it this way. I'm going to do a comparison. I'm going to compare a dog and a cow. What if? What if the cows were bred to look good? Learn to sit down when you command it to sit. It'd be weird if you ask me. But the reason I think it's weird is because we've been influenced so much that dogs are born to be a person's companion, and cows are born to be only slaughtered and produce milk. For some Asian countries, it is simply acceptable to eat dogs due to their culture. And what really is the difference between dog meat and beef? Restaurants that serve dog meat are so rare in China that it can only be found in rural places. I believe it goes the same with many other Asian countries. Before you accuse a fellow Asian of eating dog next time, I ask you to think first. The majority of the Asians are very against eating dog as well. People here at Suffield, such as Joey, Jaewoo, Poom, and many others. Asians protest and petition for the ban of consumption of dog. Some of the petition and protests have been successful, but a lot of them just ends up being useless. Perhaps there is no problem in the first place, because it's simply part of their culture. To them, it is like asking them to stop eating burgers or steaks, and they see no problem in it. It is a problem of different cultures clashing. And what we can do is simply accepting their culture or forcefully change their culture. In the end, eating dog continues to be a large problem in the world. I am personally very against eating dogs. What? Give me a second, lost a page. The last page is gone, but I can do it. I am personally very against eating dogs because my father's dog was stolen from him and ended up being someone else's dinner. From ever since, my father never had a pet dog again. You know, this is more of a culture problem. It's not because we're not acceptable towards their other culture. And what we should do instead is to accept it, simply accepting it. Suffield is a very diverse population. And this is why I really think Suffield is special. Having such a large and diverse community and having everyone truly enjoying each other's company is what made my Suffield experience so special. Thank you, and dog lovers, please don't send your dogs after me. I love dogs. Thank you.
My name is Noah Sear, and I'm a four-year senior and day student from Tallinn, Connecticut. For my chapel presentation today, I will be reading a piece of writing titled I Am the Flag by Ruth Apperson Rouse. I chose this particular piece of writing because it's about the flag that represents our country and our home. And the flag is a symbol for what our country represents. These things include freedom, faith, liberty, and honor, among other things. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy. I am the flag of the United States of America. I was born on June 14, 1777, in Philadelphia. There, the Continental Congress adopted my stars and stripes as the national flag. My 13 stripes, alternating red and white, with the union of 13 white stars and a field of blue, represented a new constellation, a new nation dedicated to the personal and religious liberty of mankind. Today, 50 stars signal for my union, one for each of the 50 sovereign states in the greatest constitutional republic the world has ever known. My colors symbolize the patriotic ideals and spiritual qualities of the citizens of my country. My red stripes proclaim the fearless courage and integrity of American men and boys and the self-sacrifice and devotion of American mothers and daughters. My white stripes stand for liberty and equality for all. My blue is the blue of heaven, loyalty, and faith. I represent these eternal principles, liberty, justice, and humanity. I embody the American freedom of speech, religion, assembly, the press, and the sanctity of the home. I typify that indomitable spirit of determination brought to my land by Christopher Columbus and by all my forefathers, the Pilgrims, Puritans, settlers at Jamestown and Plymouth. I am as old as my nation. I am a living symbol of my nation's law, the Constitution of the United States and the Bill of Rights. I voice Abraham Lincoln's philosophy, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. I stand guard over my nation's schools, the seedbed of good citizenship and true patriotism. I am displayed in every schoolroom throughout my nation. Every schoolyard has a flagpole for my display. Daily, thousands upon thousands of boys and girls pledge their allegiance to me and my country. I have my own law, Public Law 829, the Flag Code, which definitely states my correct use and display for all occasions and situations. I have my special day, Flag Day. June 14th is set aside to honor my birth. Americans, I am the sacred emblem of your country. I symbolize your birthright, your heritage of liberty purchased with blood and sorrow. I am your title deed of freedom, which is yours to enjoy and hold in trust for posterity. If you fail to keep this sacred trust and violate, if I am nullified and destroyed, you and your children will become slaves to dictators and despots. Eternal vigilance is your price of freedom. As you see me silhouetted against the peaceful skies of my country, remind yourself that I am the flag of your country, that I stand for what you are, no more and no less. Guard me well, lest your freedom perish from the earth. Dedicate your lives to those principles for which I stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I was created in freedom. I made my first appearance in a battle for human liberty. God grant that I may spend eternity in my land of the free and the home of the brave, and I shall ever be known as Old Glory, the flag of the United States of America. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Suffield. My name is Kirill Dolgin, and it's my second year in Suffield. And maybe my speech is not going to be as long as Tony's, but I had only one goal making my speech. I wanted it to be useful for other students in Suffield. So we all know that even most trained minds cannot learn new information 24/7, and students do need some rest. One of the most popular ways to rest is just to watch your favorite TV shows. Now, I know that it might sound weird, get some useful from watching TV shows, but I actually have some tips how you can make your TV show watching more useful and pleasant. So, there are plenty TV shows out there in industry, and they cover almost any topic, so they might be seen as a good source of information about topics you're interested in. For example, Downton Abbey might be a good source of historical source for English of 20th century. Chicago Med or The Knock or Famous House might be useful for those who want to become doctors or just love biology and chemistry. House of Cards, of course, or Boss will be a great source of political experience. Now, you should always remember that it's just a show and, well, the information might not be accurate. However, you still will get some experience and learn vocabulary, and it will be helpful for you to have this knowledge in your life. At the same time, TV shows might be seen as a great source of practice. Well, those ASL students or students who learn second language might use it as practice for listening, because it's like hundreds of hours of interesting information going on, and if you have an hour to watch your TV show, just watch it on another language and you'll get experience from learning another language for an hour. Now, it might seem hard to actually watch something on a different language, but such tools as slower motion video or subtitles can help you. So yeah, watch your TV shows, have fun, and make it useful. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ivan Zakharov. Some of you probably heard of me. I heard of you all. So I want to tell you a story that happened this winter to me. I usually spend my time at my country house, and I arrived there in the December. So invited my friend over, and we hang out for the late night, drink some tea, and then he kind of passed out, and I was still jet lagged, so I decided to go ice skating on a frozen lake near my house. So I put my dad's skates on and walked out to see the night. It was really beautiful there, and I skated for a long time around my property, and then I was still bored, so I decided to go farther. I skated 1 mile away or so, and then I see this dark spot on the ice. And I saw that someone must have cleaned it because a different house was right near it. So I skate there, and before I could have noticed, the ice cracked under my skates, and I dove in the coldest water I ever experienced. So I didn't panic at that time for some reason, and I kind of knew what I had to do. I had to get out or just swim to the shore. So I tried grabbing to the ice, but it would break in my hands, and I couldn't do anything. So I was just floating there and getting heavier with every second I would spend there. My clothes were soaked, and my movement was blocked due to the heavy weight and cold water. So I tried getting out one more time, and it actually worked. I got on the surface of the ice, and then crawled a couple of steps and stood back on my skates. But eventually, ice was pretty thin in that area as well, and I fell back in again. So that time, it didn't take me that much to get out of the water, and I managed to get on ice once again. But then I did make the mistake, and I crawled for like 50 yards or so, and then I stood up on my skates and skated back home. When I got home, I was frozen. My skates were frozen, so I couldn't take them off. It was just like solid brick of ice. So I knocked on the window, and my friend opened me, and I got in the shower, like fully equipped. And then next day, my dad was like, "Ivan, how are you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. I just fell under ice." He's like, "Are my skates okay?" And so that was it. That was my chapel speech. Everyone subscribe to Luca Curry's Instagram.
Hello, Suffield. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Chris Donahue, and I'm a four-year day student senior from West Springfield, Massachusetts. I remember how I felt when I first found out that I was going to have to give a speech in front of the whole school. We were at the Kozlowski's farm for our class bonding trip last spring, and Mr. Lynch announced a new change to the chapel program, that all seniors would have to give a presentation in front of everyone. When he said this, and I'm sure I shared this sentiment with many of my classmates, I was a little terrified. I also thought to myself, great, as if the class of 2017 hasn't been the guinea pig group for enough already. The switch from the old to the new SAT, not to mention 2 changes in the Suffield academic schedule, now we have this added to the list. But back to my point. Giving a speech in front of 400 plus people is not the easiest thing for someone like me who's a little shy to do. But writing the speech has helped me to realize that sometimes, in order to grow, you have to step out of your comfort zone, even if you're being forced to do it. So here I am. I could use this opportunity to talk to you all about who I am, what I love, or what I've done with my life, but in all honesty, I'm not really that interesting. So instead, I want to talk to you all about the person I'd like to be, me. I know it sounds a little weird, but I think the most important thing you can be in life is yourself. Look around this room. We have 25 countries and 25 US states represented at this school, if I read the Faces book correctly. But honestly, diversity means so much more than that. We have 413 people who are all different and bring to the table their own individual outlook on life and their own unique talents. Being yourself, however, is not always as easy as it may seem. There are going to be times when it will feel easier to conform. People will tell you you're not good enough, or they'll try to make you feel ashamed of yourself. I've actually been told several times throughout my life that my personality was, and I quote, wrong. Not wrong as in wrong for the job, or wrong as in out of place, wrong as in incorrect or insufficient. We all put so much pressure on ourselves and on others to look, feel, and act a certain way, it can be overwhelming at times. The best thing to do when this happens is to just take a deep breath, let it all go, and remember how special you are. You are all one of a kind. There is no one else like you, and I think that's something really beautiful. Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. But the hardest part about learning how to accept yourself is learning to embrace the things you don't necessarily like about yourself. We all have our flaws. That shouldn't come as a shocker. As much as we may want to believe it, not one of us is perfect. We generally try to conceal these flaws, but despite our best efforts, they come out sometimes. For me, I can be too reserved, too insecure, too judgmental, and too hesitant to express my true feelings. Now, you all don't have to get out and declare all the things you don't like about yourself in front of the whole school like I just did, but it is important to be self-aware of these issues. Work on trying to improve and become a better version of yourself, but don't feel like your flaws are something to hate about yourself. If you spend so much time getting down on yourself and feeling miserable about everything, you'll never be able to be truly happy. Rather than being ashamed and trying to hide these things, embrace them wholeheartedly. Be proud of who you are and of what makes you special. I can't stress enough how important this is. No one will ever be able to fully accept you if you can't accept yourself. Your flaws and your mistakes are all a part of you, and the only thing you can do is learn from them and use them to become better. So what do I want you to take away from this? It's simple. Just be yourself. Unless who you are is a jerk, in which case, stop being a jerk and work on being nicer. No matter what life tries to throw at you, and believe me, it will throw a lot at you, just take it with a smile and don't let the negativity get to your head. I'm going to close this with a quote from one of my favorite songs by one of my favorite singers. I know it's a bit of a corny song that's been overplayed on radio stations everywhere since it came out in 2010, but I think the message of it is really beautiful, and I try to apply this song to my life in any way that I can. Baby, you're a firework. Come on, let your colors burst. So that's about all I have. I thoroughly hope that something I said resonated in some way with at least one of you today, because if that happened, then all of this situation of being forced to take a huge leap out of my comfort zone and speak in front of 400 plus people will have all been worth it. Thank you.
Hi, Suffield. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tanner Moore, and I'm a four-year senior from Bermuda. I'm sure that, like many of you, when I was told I had to give a speech in chapel, I panicked. I then realized why I was freaking out, and knew it was because I was worried about feeling judged. But that's when I took a step back and realized that it doesn't matter, because as long as I say what I believe, then I will be happy. And that is exactly what I'm going to talk to you about today: how hard and judgmental high school can be, and learning how to stay true to yourself throughout it. I chose to come to Suffield because I wanted a school with a strong sense of community. I wanted a school where everyone was happy to be there, and as I toured Suffield, I truly sensed that. However, I realized while a place can be warm and welcoming, high school is a time in our lives where we are confronted with our own personal judgments as well as the judgments of our peers. This is a time where we are figuring out who we really are, and that is not easy. We have been told our whole lives it's okay to make mistakes, Yet when we do, we often are reminded of these faults with negative connotations. I learned to follow the pack and try not to embarrass myself because I was afraid of what the cool kids would say. But in reality, why do I or anyone else care about what the cool kids think? I cannot say that I'm not a part of the issue. Up until this year, I took full part in the high school stereotype. I had my clique, and we spent all our time together. We defined the stereotype of the basic high school girls, gossiping about our peers to make ourselves feel better. Truly, though, that is all it was, trying to make ourselves feel better for our own imperfections. This negative behavior is what made me afraid to talk about what I'm going to share with you all today. I was afraid of the reactions of my peers, but once again I realized those who choose to judge and belittle my imperfections are not people I want to surround myself with. So now I will share something I've hid from most of you my entire high school career, something that I learned to be ashamed of and hide in fear of others' reactions. In 8th grade, before coming to Suffield, I went through a very tough stage in my life. I spent so much time trying to be perfect and happy, when in reality I was far from okay. It tore me apart. I'd given up on myself, and with no hope of the future, I tried to take my own life. Now don't all freak out, I'm not crazy, I'm human. I have struggled with depression for years, and that has been something I was so ashamed of. I thought it was my weakness and something to hide from, but I'm here to tell you all it's not. I'm stronger today than I've ever been, and although my depression is a part of me, it does not define me. So I'm here to tell you all out there that no matter what you're going through or what you've been through, it is okay. It is actually more than okay, it's normal. I shouldn't and you shouldn't feel ashamed of our struggles. We will all face challenges in our lives, and when we do we want others judging us? If you take away anything from this, let it be that even those that seem to have their lives together have their own problems and imperfections, and the words you say and those judgments you pass can leave a huge impact on them. Suffield provides a supportive and caring community that we all love, and we should cherish our time here and support each other as we all navigate through the teenage years. So I'll finish this off with a quote by Dr. Seuss. I'm sure many of you have heard, but listen closely and maybe even believe it. Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. Thank you.
Hi guys, I'm Liz. I'm from Westfield, Massachusetts, and I'm gonna try to zip through this because it's terrifying. Each person has a different view of the world that's unique to that individual. In our small, contained community, there are many different views that have been shaped from all over the world. Expressing these extraordinary outlooks can be difficult. I found my medium of expression through photography. I've had 3 different teachers, each offering their own unique spin on the subject, and providing a different type of instruction that helped me grow. At least 4 days a week, I find solace in the comfort of the darkroom. The familiar, overpowering smell of the chemicals has become oddly calming. The soft trickle of the water leaving the wash bath, the glow of the red safe lights, and the smooth touch of the printing paper all hold an important role in my daily meditation. The darkroom is one of the few places I don't doubt myself. I'm confident in my actions and sure of my movements. I know that I'm doing right by the moments I have captured. I yearn to show people how I view the world, yet I remain eager to understand others' interpretations. This practice has become a part of my identity. I appraise its powers to allow me to escape this world and get lost in a single captured moment. Now I'd like to show you some of my images. I promise I'm not that dark all the time.
topic that affects a lot of us. These two names. All right. So here we have Tom Brady, the quarterback of the New England Patriots. He's a four-time Super Bowl champion, and he's pretty good. Here are some stats. Here are some of Brady's records. You can agree he's a pretty good player. Before Brady came in the league, the Patriots were an all-right team. Pretty good, pretty average, I guess. With an overall record of 59 and 53. Now the real greatest quarterback of all time, Peyton Manning, two-time Super Bowl champion, 5-time MVP, and a lot of other things. He holds several records, including most yards, most touchdowns, most wins, most touchdowns in a season, and most MVPs. Before he came to the league, the Colts were a not very good team, and with an overall negative record of 43 and 69.